What's going on, guys? It's Greg here, aka NYPrepper. It is Monday, July 29th, 2024, and I have an emergency alert to share with you guys. Right now, it is 1500 Eastern Time here in the United States. I wanted to update you guys on the situation in Lebanon. So it does appear that we are hours or days away from a massive Israeli invasion or military operation in Lebanon. We're hearing that there's going to be several days worth of fighting. We don't know if that's going to mean airstrikes or a land invasion. We do know that the Israeli military chief of staff already approved a ground operation in Lebanon. So now it's up to Netanyahu and the defense minister, Yoav Gallant, to decide how and when they're going to start this retaliation on Lebanon for Hezbollah launching a missile at a playground in northern Israel, killing over a dozen children while they were playing soccer in broad daylight. So I want to update you guys with some of the latest information that I have on Lebanon. Before I do that, I just want to mention something concerning coming out of France. So apparently the fiber optic networks of several telecommunications operators were sabotaged in 6 areas of France yesterday, and apparently Paris was not affected. And this comes just 3 days after the coordinated arson attack on high-speed trains in France that attempted to interfere with the Olympics. And the French Interior Minister said they have identified several suspects in the arson attacks on the trains last week, and that they bear the fingerprints of the far left. And there was another attack on critical infrastructure in Europe today. German police announced that the railway line between Bremen and Hamburg was sabotaged. 2 cable installations were set on fire in an act of sabotage. So 6 areas of France had fiber optic networks sabotaged, guys. Okay. And now an attack on a railway line in Germany, sabotage attack. And in the UK, there was a mass stabbing situation today. A number of people were stabbed by a knife-wielding attacker targeting a children's nursery in Southport, Liverpool. Now, guys, in the UK, firearms are illegal. If just one person had a firearm, they would have been able to stop the stabber and shoot him dead. But because basically everybody's a sitting duck over there, there was nothing anybody could do to stop this animal. So we currently have 2 nuclear war command and control planes up in the air over the United States. And we also have what appears to be an evacuation flight from Lebanon. So we have the C-17 that left Beirut a couple of hours ago and is heading up to the Baltic countries. And it's a SAC heavy airlift wing C-17. So it does appear that people are being evacuated from Beirut. This could be a Lithuanian or Latvian C-17. It's really hard to say. Or it could be a U.S. C-17. If it's part of the SAC heavy airlift wing, then it's probably a U.S. C-17. Maybe they're just stopping over in the Baltics for some reason. But we also have Forte 11 doing a really dense pattern here in Estonia, right near the Russian border. I have never seen Forte 11 do this before. This is very, very concerning. They've been flying this thing in Poland the last week or two every single night. And this is the first time I've seen them fly in Estonia. Okay, so this is a sign that Russia is getting ready to invade the Baltics. Now, last week I reported that Russia is deploying military hospitals across all their major cities, including Moscow. And also, Putin asked all state-owned businesses to relocate to Siberia and to submit a relocation plan by October the 1st. So it appears that Russia is preparing for war with NATO. And I want to just play this video for you. This is coming from the U.S. Embassy in Lebanon. And this lady here says that U.S. citizens need to be prepared to shelter in place for long periods of time. Check this out. This was put out today.
We recommend U.S. citizens develop a crisis plan of action and leave before a crisis begins. Regularly scheduled commercial transportation is always the best option while local communications and transportation infrastructure are intact and operating normally. Please make sure that your U.S. passports are valid for at least 6 months. If not, you should make an appointment to renew your U.S. passport through the U.S. Embassy website. Should commercial air not be available, individuals already in Lebanon should be prepared to shelter in place for long periods of time.
Wow. Let's play that again.
Individuals already in Lebanon should be prepared to shelter in place for long periods of time. Individuals already in Lebanon should be prepared to shelter in place for long periods of time.
Be prepared to shelter in place for long periods of time. Wow.
And finally, if your relatives are planning to visit you in Lebanon this summer, please strongly encourage them to reconsider their travel, given the difficulties that would hinder departure should conflict increase in the region. Preparation is key to crisis preparedness, and I hope you will take a moment to follow up on these steps so that we can help you keep you and your family safe.
Wow. Absolutely crazy, guys. Okay, so that's the U.S. Embassy in Beirut. This update was sponsored by My Patriot Supply. Guys, My Patriot Supply has brought back their 25% discount on their 3-month emergency food supply. And to get the discount, you got to use the link preparewithNYPrepper.com. And the link is in the description below this video. But this 3-month emergency food supply has a 25-year shelf life. It includes over 2,000 calories per day, breakfasts, lunches, dinners, drinks, and snacks, all contained within 6 rugged water-resistant buckets, and free shipping is included. So use the link preparewithNYPrepper.com to get $200 off or 25% off of the My Patriot Supply 3-month emergency food supply. The link is in the description below this video. Free shipping is included. They also have a general store where they sell all kinds of prepping and survival products, and they're always running various discounts. And to get to their general store, you just got to click on the My Patriot Supply logo when you get to preparewithNYPrepper.com at the top of the page, and you'll see their general store where they sell all kinds of prepping and survival products, and they're always running discounts here. So use the link preparewithNYPrepper.com to get 25% off of the My Patriot Supply 3-month emergency food supply, and the link is in the description below this video. And the Iranian president warned the French president about any escalation in Lebanon. And Swiss International Airlines has suspended flights to and from Beirut until at least August the 5th. Okay, so for the next 2 weeks, Swiss International Airlines has suspended flights to and from Beirut. And now we're hearing that Lufthansa and Austrian Airlines have canceled their flights to Ben Gurion International Airport in Israel. Wow. And a number of passengers traveling from Beirut International Airport were informed today that their flights had been canceled. So, massive cancellations in Beirut International Airport. And starting tonight until Sunday, train services in northern Israel will be suspended. And Germany has reiterated its calls for citizens to leave Lebanon immediately. Italy is now calling on its citizens to leave Lebanon immediately. So we have Germany, Italy, Sweden, Belgium, France, Denmark, and I think there's like 1 or 2 more. So over half a dozen countries now telling their citizens to leave immediately. And the Israeli prime minister visited the playground that was hit by the Hezbollah missile earlier today. And the former Lebanese security chief revealed that U.S. envoy leaked Israeli attack plans. Former head of Lebanon's general security, Major General Abbas Ibrahim, stated in a BBC interview that U.S. envoy Amos Hochstein, that's Obama's advisor on Lebanon, provided information about Israeli plans for attacks on Lebanon. Hochstein reportedly warned them whenever he obtained information about imminent Israeli strikes. Wow, sounds like a traitor to me, guys. Basically telling Lebanon all of Israel's plans before they occur. So, very, very disgusting for him to do this. And apparently, Hochstein informed the Israeli government that Hezbollah would bomb with long range missiles if Beirut was attacked. And Israel is preparing for a war with Hezbollah in the north that will last several days, according to Israeli officials. And the Israeli army spokesman told Sky News Arabia, our response to Hezbollah will be clear and strong. And there's reports that Hezbollah has started moving precision guided missiles, and the IRGC and Hezbollah are evacuating their bases now in eastern Syria and Iraq in anticipation of Israeli strikes. And the British Navy is repositioning some assets that are often used for evacuation operations closer to Lebanon. And the U.S. Wasp amphibious assault ship with thousands of Marines is positioning itself closer to Lebanon as well. And the Turkish Foreign Ministry said that Netanyahu is the same person as Hitler. They said, just like the end of the genocidal Hitler, so will be the end of the genocidal Netanyahu. I mean, that is just totally insane. And yesterday, the president of Turkey, Erdogan, threatened to invade Israel. Okay. And in response, Israel said that Erdogan could face the same fate as Saddam Hussein. But that is biblical, guys, for a leader of Turkey to openly threaten Israel with invasion. That is biblical. Okay. That is part of the Ezekiel 38 and 39 prophecy in the Bible, which talks about a massive invasion of Israel with Russia leading the invasion and Turkey and Iran and North African countries like Libya participating. So it does appear that we are getting closer to the Ezekiel 38-39 war. And the Kuwaiti newspaper Al Jarida reported that Iran has supplied Hezbollah and other Iranian proxy forces with EMP weapons. Okay, so Iran has given EMPs to Hezbollah and Iranian proxies. So I'm going to be covering this whole situation live later on tonight. I will be going live again. And when this kicks off, I will be going live 24/7, just like I did over the weekend. But I do believe that this is going to spiral out of control. Even if Israel launches a limited strike, I still believe there's going to be an escalation. Now, we are hearing from Walla News, which is an Israeli news company, that this strike will be a strategic strike on Hezbollah. Okay, so it's going to be a widespread strategic attack on Hezbollah. We're not talking about, hitting a couple of oil facilities or some ammo dumps. Okay, this is going to be a massive air campaign followed by a ground operation to push Hezbollah north of the Litani River. So that means that they're going to cross into southern Lebanon and occupy maybe 10 or 20 miles of Lebanon along the border with Israel to try to push Hezbollah away from the border of Israel. So this way, Israel's not within artillery range anymore. Okay, they want to return those 80,000 Israelis that were evacuated from northern Israel 9 months ago, and they still haven't been able to return. Okay, they're refugees in their own country. Just imagine if Mexico, the cartels in Mexico were shelling southern Texas every single day, and people in, Corpus Christi had to evacuate and move to Houston or Dallas. And for almost an entire year, nobody could live in Corpus Christi because the cartels were launching artillery there every single day. Do you think we would stand for that? I don't think so. I think we would be there in less than 24 hours with 20,000 Marines, and we would clear all those cartels out and occupy all of northern Mexico probably, okay, within a week. So, you know, it's really disgusting that a lot of Western countries don't understand how serious the situation is in Israel. Okay, Israel is being attacked on a daily basis from all directions. Okay, the Houthis, Hamas, Hezbollah, Iranian proxies, Syria, they're constantly bombarding Israel every single day. And late last night, we had 5 aerial refuelers go overseas into Europe. We had 4 of them take off from Grissom Air Base in Indiana, and 1 took off from Fairchild. So, this is an indication that Israel is going to do a large air campaign because they need aerial refueling support. So, we're sending our aerial refuelers over there. And we also have an X 1.5 solar flare that is about to hit Earth. We could see a strong geomagnetic storm tomorrow up to a G3 level. So there could be auroras as far south as Oregon and some of the lower Midwestern states. So if you live anywhere from Missouri northward, be on the lookout for auroras tomorrow night. And there is going to be a radio blackout for high frequency radios the rest of the week. So it may be difficult to hear some of the nuclear attack options, the EAMs, but I will continue to monitor them. So, guys, the sun is very, very active. There was an X14 flare on the far side of the sun 2 days ago. Okay. Thank God it was on the far side of the sun and it wasn't earth facing, because if it was earth facing, we would have had a Carrington level event. We haven't had an X14 flare since 2003. Okay. 20 years. So very active sun. And remember, we had a global aurora this spring. Okay. Auroras were spotted as far south as the equator. So get prepared. We also have a new tropical disturbance in the tropical Atlantic with a 50% chance of development. So the U.S. needs to be on high alert. The Gulf Coast and the eastern seaboard of the U.S. needs to be on high alert. And Ukrainian attack drones struck multiple power substations in Russia yesterday, successfully damaging them in Tomarovka and Glazunovka in the Belgorod Oblast and Oryol Oblast. Okay. And this comes just 2 or 3 days after Ukraine struck a massive oil depot in Russia and also another substation in Kursk, causing widespread blackouts. Okay. So Ukraine is really striking Russia's energy infrastructure now. And they also hit those nuclear bomber bases in Olenya and Engels. Okay, so Putin is definitely going to lash out soon. I think Putin is planning something. I'm very concerned at how quiet it's been in Ukraine. We haven't heard any crazy news coming from Ukraine as far as massive airstrikes or anything like that. The craziest thing we heard happen last week was Romania shooting down drones that Russia fired towards Ukraine, and they ended up flying into Romania, and Romania had to shoot them down. But we haven't heard of any massive missile attacks on Ukraine in quite a while. So this tells me that Putin is saving up his missiles and he's preparing for something, either a war with NATO, an attack on Lithuania, or maybe some kind of large attack on Ukraine. And in Venezuela, we had a fraudulent election yesterday, and Maduro, the communist dictator, reelected himself. We know that at least 1 person was killed and 2 people were seriously injured in clashes with the communist police in Venezuela after the stolen elections. And the president of Argentina announced that his country does not recognize Maduro's victory. He said Venezuelans chose to end the communist dictatorship of Nicolas Maduro. The data announces a crushing victory for the opposition, and the world is waiting for it to recognize defeat. After years of socialism, misery, decadence, and death, Argentina is not going to recognize another fraud and hopes that the armed forces this time will defend democracy and the popular will. Freedom advances in Latin America. And the president of Chile will not recognize the results of the Venezuelan election. And Russian President Vladimir Putin congratulated Venezuela's Maduro on his reelection, and China congratulated Maduro as well. We know that Russia has a military alliance with Venezuela. They recently sent their warships to Venezuela. And what's interesting is that Xi Jinping still has not been seen in 3+ weeks since it was reported by Chinese journalist Jennifer Zhang that he had a severe stroke. So I do believe Xi Jinping may have had a severe stroke or some kind of cardiac issue or something serious. I think he's in a hospital right now. And South Korea's intelligence agency stated that North Korea is training Kim Jong-un's daughter, Kim Ju-ae, to be the next leader due to concerns over Kim Jong-un's health. They also reported that Kim Jong-un has sought out new drugs to deal with his health issues. And Gazprom, the Russian gas company, set a new record for daily pipeline gas flows to China. Okay, so that's how Russia is able to stay afloat economically throughout this war, is by selling massive amounts of gas and oil to China. And during the RIMPAC exercises, the U.S. practiced using a low-cost unguided bomb to sink a surface ship with a B-2 stealth bomber. The bomb, called QuickSink, successfully tested earlier this month. The U.S. and allies practiced taking out a large surface ship with long-range weapons, including for the first time a U.S. Air Force B-2 bomber. The test of the weapon occurred on July 19th when a B-2 participated in the sinking of the ex-USS Tarawa, a retired 820-foot-long, 39,000-ton amphibious assault ship, a vessel the size of a small aircraft carrier. It showed the U.S. military can use one of its most survivable weapons platforms, the B-2 Spirit stealth bomber, to sink a major surface ship with a low-cost guided bomb. This capability is an answer to an urgent need to quickly neutralize maritime threats over massive expanses of ocean around the world at minimal costs, said a press release from the U.S. Navy's Third Fleet. So basically, they're showing China, listen, if you send one of your aircraft carriers or any of your warships, amphibious assault ships to Taiwan, we're going to fly over with B-2s with cheap bombs and drop them on your ships and annihilate them. And you're not going to know where the bombs were coming from because it's coming from a stealth bomber, which are invisible to radar and to all detection, thermal, everything. Okay, so very clearly a preparation for a showdown in the Pacific with China. And the U.S. Navy conducted a secretive experiment called Silent Swarm 24 in Michigan last week, where they tested massive amounts of small swarming drones that could be used for electromagnetic warfare and other missions. So this is like something out of a movie, guys. Okay, they're trying to create these drone swarms where they have these tiny drones that they can send to a war zone and overwhelm enemy air defenses and attack radars, attack air defenses. You know, these tiny little drones that can swarm a target, you know, hundreds and hundreds of them. So we've seen how effective these small drones are in Ukraine. Now imagine, you know, swarms of them, you know, like Alfred Hitchcock's movies, you know, The Birds or whatever it's called, you know, swarms and swarms of them just attacking a target. But that's the latest breaking news that I have. I will be back later on tonight. I will be monitoring the situation in Lebanon. It does appear we're just hours away or days away from this massive campaign in Lebanon. And once that happens, there will be escalation. I have no doubt about it. The Iranian proxies are going to get involved, and Iran is going to get involved. They're going to attack our military bases, and then we're going to be forced to get involved. So get prepared, guys. Make sure you have everything you need. And until next time, take care. God bless. And don't forget the 3 Ps: prepare, practice, and persevere.